Hi, Pete Moore, Mart TV. Right, we all know the 6.5 Creedmoor has become the it cartridge in the last few years, and it's a good round, it really is. 6.5 is a great calibre, good sectional density, very good round all in all. You've got the old 6.5 Swedish, which is over 100 years old, and that's still a cracking cartridge. So naturally, when it started, Hornaday design first pushed the Creedmoor, and they had a round called the 143 grain ELDX, which was an extreme long range bullet, a hunting bullet, and it had a special polymer ballistic tip that resisted heat build up better than the standard plastics around. And it's hardly surprising that most of the major players have followed suit with the rounds of this type. And one brand that I particularly favour is Norma, and they've come out with a round they call the BONDSTRIKE. And if you were to put the two next to each other, apart from the fact that the BONDSTRIKE has a blue tip and the ELDX a red one, if you didn't look at the head stamp, you'd be hard pressed to tell the difference, because it is what it is. You design something like that and it's almost impossible not to design a very similar thing, because it works. But that's what it is. Not the unusual thing, but the BONDSTRIKE is a standard lead cored bullet, though with a bonded core, and it's designed for longer range hunting and also to retain as much bullet mass as possible, which means that when it hits, it deforms and does the business, and it mushrooms and goes through and passes through, but you tend to lose very, very little material, and that's often with a badly or a weakly constructed bullet. They go in, they expand, and they tend to expand very aggressively and cause all sorts of damage inside, ruining meat and things. 270 is a great example of it. With the right bullets, it's an absolute cracker, but with lightly built, soft nosed, thin jacket bullets, it's a hand grenade going off basically. So that's what the bonded core does. Now, I've been putting this through my 24-inch Lupo, which is perhaps a tad long for a lot of guns out there, but I quite like the extra length on the barrel, just to see what it does and how it shoots. So let's see what Norma say about it first of all. So it's bonded core, as I said, and they quote two BCs, ballistic coefficients, G1 at 0.629 and G7 at 0.313. So you go down the range, obviously the coefficients change because the bullet's going slower and therefore it's reacting more. They also quote from the box, they don't say what barrel length, a velocity of 2740 feet per second, which generates a very healthy, for a 6.5 style round of this nature, 2383 foot-pounds, which is to be appreciated. So I put it through the Lupo, and I found, unsurprisingly, that the figures were not the same, because it's very, very rare to find a load you can buy off the shelf that actually shoots the figures they quote in the box, because quite often or not they're using longer barrels or special powders and this sort of thing. So it's not a con, but basically you must realise that what it says in the box, until you put it through the rifle, you can't prove it. And as always, with any always, it's pretty much it's less. So a good example is they quote 2740 feet per second. My Lupo averaged 2679 feet per second, which is pretty healthy for a bullet of that weight in a Creedmoor. But what was impressive, the standard deviation of velocity was only 4.7 feet per second, which means the extreme spread is 9.4 feet per second, which is very, very good. So you're looking at consistency here straight away, which will pay dividends downrange. And 2287 is the sort of loads that my old 6.5 Swedish was producing from a 23 and a bit barrel. However, as you go down range with a lot of these calibers, you do get obviously a drop off in velocity and therefore a drop off in energy. And again, looking at what the BONDSTRIKE does, the actual dropout is pretty healthy. I zeroed it at 100 yards, and it was producing at 100 yards 2048 foot-pounds, which is pretty good. At 200 it's had 1830 foot-pounds, a bit of a drop, but still up above 1700. At 250 it was 1727 foot-pounds, and at 260 it was 1708, and it and at 300 it was 1630 foot-pounds. So okay, it doesn't matter because it's reached its foot-pound ceiling very quickly. But still, at 300, you're just not that shy of 1700 foot-pounds. So you've got an effective cartridge. It depends how far you want to push it, but it does mean that if you've got the capability in the rifle, you can push it quite a fair way. No problem on feed and functioning. Accuracy wise, my Lupo can be a little bit funny. They're guaranteed to shoot Sub-Moa, which it does, but quite often it will split the groups. So what will happen is your first 2 rounds will shoot very tightly, you're touching or just outside touching, and then the third one usually steps out, but so far nothing's gone outside the inch. So I would say I'd call this probably, on a good day with this gun, a 3/4 inch at 100 yards, which is pretty good. Other rifles might shoot it tighter, I don't know, but still, if you're hunting animals, and even if your maximum distance is 300 yards, you work it out. If it shoots, say, 3/4 inch at 100 yards, then you just add on 2 more 3/4 inches, and that gives you the size of the group at 300, which is well within spec for knocking a deer over. As ever, say, nicely presented round, works well, no real complaints about it. And I think if you shoot a 6.5 Creedmoor and you're looking for not something different from perhaps something that you'd like to move forward with it, then I'd say the BONDSTRIKE is well worth a look. Get yourself a box of 20 and see how it runs. But from what I've found of it so far, it's a pretty impressive load. A typical normal product, very well done. Okay, so that's it really. Not terribly exciting, but it's worth considering if you shoot. So, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, tell your mates, support the channel. If you want to speak to me about anything, it's pmore.shootingsports@gmail.com, and I'll see you later.